Hi, this is Laura. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I will be talking about my reading goals for 2021. I am the most awkward person in the world. So I know what you're thinking. Laura, it's the middle of February. Why are you talking about your reading goals now? And that is a good question. Here's the answer. I read a lot during December. I read a lot because there are the holidays and I'm going to visit people and I'm spending time not working. And if I were to do goals the first week of January, I would still be in the mindset that I'm going to read a lot because I read a lot at the end of December. I have been taking to not doing reading goals until February so that I have a whole month of my life back to normal where I am working full-time, and that gives me a more accurate representation of what my reading looks like so that I don't overestimate or underestimate my goals for the year. So I am finally ready to share my reading goals. I'm so sorry my thing is a mess. I was gonna say it's normally not like this. It's definitely normally like this. It's always like this because this is the book I'm currently reading. These are the books I don't want to put up because they're not mine, but I need to read them. I feel like I'm in a different spot every time I film. I'm in my bedroom, sitting on the ground. This shelf and then the top shelf are all books that I have but have not read, which is one of my goals, but we'll get to that. Goal number 1 is to read 150 books this year. So that's a little bit over 12 books a month. I am currently on track for that. It's just kind of this arbitrary number that I grabbed because I didn't record how many books I read last year, so I don't know if that's a low number or if that's a really high number because I know that reading will fluctuate based on the season. That's the number that I picked. I want to emphasize that I read really fast, so I can read a book a day. Last Saturday I read 3 books because I wasn't doing anything and I had the time, so I read them. No one who's watching this should feel bad if their number is not that high, because the fact that you're reading at all or doing anything to care for yourself or better yourself is positive. So there should be no, you shouldn't compare your reading goal to my reading goal because we're different people. So, and this is all I do with my time. I have a dog and a cat, so I take care of them. I work full time, but besides that, I don't do anything. We're in a pandemic, so I can't go anywhere. So all I do is read, basically. So that's my goal number 1. Read 150 books. Goal number 2, 50% of those books I want to be by female authors because I want to read more by female authors, obviously. Goal number 3, I want 50% of those books to be by authors of color. I think it's really important to diversify your reading. I don't know if I'm going to hit that goal just because I have a lot of books that I already own that are like classics, and a lot of classics from olden time aren't represented well ethnicity wise. Very possible that I won't hit that number, but that's why it's a goal. So I'm hoping to do as close to 50 as I can. Next year I'm just gonna hope to improve. So that's goal number 3. Goal number 4 is to read 12 nonfiction books. That's averages about 1 nonfiction book a month. That's very doable for me. The very last thing I do before I go to sleep is pick up a book and read a chapter. Usually it's a nonfiction book because I have a harder time putting down fiction books after 1 chapter. Like, I usually want to keep on reading. Fiction books or self-help books, I usually don't have that issue. Right now I'm reading All Blood Runs Red, The Legendary Life of Eugene Ballard, Boxer, Pilot, Soldier, Spy. He was the first Black American fighter pilot. So right now I'm reading this book. I'm reading about a chapter a night. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. Sometimes I don't pick it up. Like, sometimes I've read the whole day and I just don't want to read right before bed. But so that's my book this month. That's number 4. So my goal by the end of the year is to have 200 followers on TikTok and 500 subscribers on YouTube. Overarching that though, really, I want to be consistent with uploads. So I want to post twice a week for YouTube, Wednesdays and Sundays, and for TikTok I want to post at least twice a week. It's been really hard specifically for TikTok adhering to that because I haven't really found my niche yet. Like, I'm on BookTok. I love BookTok. At the end of December I started BookTok, and originally every single time I finished a book I would post a TikTok about it, and then it just got to be too much. I was reading too much. It was too much recording, it was too much editing, it was just too much to do. So now I'm kind of in that like weird in-between stage where I don't really know what I want to post on TikTok, but I want to kind of figure that out and post like twice a week, 3 times a week or something like that. So those are my goals for that. That was goal number 5. Goal number 6 is the biggest goal. I want to, by the end of the year, read all of my physical books that I own. To help with that, I've self-imposed a book buying ban until May, because that's when we're going to move out of our apartment. So until May, I'm not going to buy any books. I am just going to pick physical books that I already own. And to help with that, I made myself a TBR bucket. So these are all of the physical books that I own besides the ones that I've gotten from my mom, because she gets book of the month and then she'll give them to me so that I can read them. So those aren't in the bucket because they're not mine. And also my ARCs that I have to read that I've been signing up for, those don't go in the bucket because I usually get them, I don't get them physically. And also those have a time limit, so even if I got them physically, I wouldn't put them in the bucket because these are just like any of the books that I want. So I'll just pick out a thing. This is the one, so like the next book that I read would be the one. I'm gonna put it back because that wasn't a real pick. Hopefully that'll help with reading these books. I've been actually finding it kind of difficult to read. I have them all written down in my bullet journal and I've been crossing them off as I go. I have about 74 physical copies of books that I have not read. I thought it would be easier because I'm not buying any books, but I have book of the month club books that my mom gives me. She gets 4 a month that she gets and then gives them to me, so then I have 4 a month. I've also been getting about 4 ARCs every week. So that's 4 ARCs a week that I've been reading. And then I'm also still reading the book that my sister's boyfriend gave me to read, Way of Kings, which is thousands of pages long. I guess that's dramatic. It's like 1,200 pages long, but still, it's a ton of pages long. That was originally going to post a reading long Wednesday. I gave myself 1 day to read the book. I didn't even get halfway. So I'm postponing that so that I can do that later and pushing this one forward. I thought it would be a lot easier, but I had bought books before the ban started, so that gave me more. My last Once Upon a Book Club book gave me Oliver Twist, so that was another book I have to read. I read about 5 out of the 74 that I own. So, and like this one, I'm definitely going to finish by the end of the month. This is going to be an honorable mention for my book for Black History Month, since this was not written by a person of color, but it's about a person of color. I couldn't find his memoir. For some reason, I couldn't find that anywhere. But so this is going to be an honorable mention. I also have to read one more book, at least. There are a couple, actually. This one's also by a person of color, so I actually also might read this one for that video. So there are books that like I have to read first. I have to read this one by next week because my mother has not actually read it yet. She gave it to me first, so I have to read this one so that I can give it back to her. So there are books, it's just not as fast as I thought it would be, even though there are tons of books that I really am interested in reading, like The Love Square, American Spy, They Both Die at the End, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Sweet Sorrow, Anne of Green Gables, the Percy Jackson series. Like, there are so many books that I own that I really want to read that I just have not read yet. So I'm hoping that the bucket and the book buying ban will help me with that. There was a BookToker that I saw who had a book buying ban, but every physical book that they read and every ebook and every reread or whatever, they gave themselves a specific amount of money that they could spend. So if they read one of their physical books, they earned $1 towards purchasing books. So I think after May, I'm going to do that and continue to read all of the ARCs that I get and Book of the Month Club books that I get. I'm hoping that I can get this finished. I have, like I said, about 60 left. That's the biggest goal that I have this year. That's like the biggest one that I want to accomplish. So I want to get all of these books read, really, so that when I buy more, my fiance is not like, have you finished all the books you have? So that I can be like, actually, yes, I have. Buy me more books now. So those are my 2021 reading goals. Comment down below, tell me what your reading goals are. I would love to keep you accountable and you can keep me accountable. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.